Dark greetings.
Dark greetings.
Oh, hold on, my headphones are turned up super loud.
I'm having like weird tech issues.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know what was. I don't know. Something weird is happening.
Oh no. Well, I mean, you made it.
I think I got it sorted. Yeah. Hey, Bandit.
Wonderful. What's up, my guy?
Yeah, super bizarre. Okay.
We are here tonight talking about the final 3 episodes of Serial Experiments Lain. So welcome everybody.
Yes.
The
time has come.
The time has come indeed. It is once again the end of 2 women talking about anime on the internet.
Can we?
Just for now, though.
But can we?
Can we what?
The thing that you're often opposed to, but is still funny anyway, in this one instance.
Oh my god, if you must.
Actually, I don't even see it on here. Oh wait, there it is. Oh. That was it.
Okay. Wonderful. So episode 11, I believe it is titled Infornography, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, for a second I thought they said pornography. I was like, wait, where is this going? Oh, yeah. I see.
But at the beginning of the episode, we go back to the shooting at Siberia.
Yes. One moment here? What do you think of this?
I like it.
Because then when people hop on, they don't have to ask what we're talking about.
There we go. That's actually a really great question, DT Master. How in God's name would we describe this show in a nutshell? And how do I put that title back up? Does it? Okay, wonderful. It pops back up.
Yeah, we're going to take it off. It's hard to without spoiling it too.
It's about a girl named Lane who is at the center. Yeah. About a girl named Lane who is at the center of some bizarre goings on with essentially the early internet. They call it the Wired in the show.
Yeah, in sort of a virtual world, I guess. Yeah. If it helps, this was part of the inspiration for The Matrix.
Yeah.
I think that does help.
But
it's very confusing.
The beginning of it is a very confusing show, but it's a lot. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here because we're going to talk about our overall thoughts once we finish discussing these 3 episodes, but I really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely have some stuff coming.
But for this montage that we kind of open the episode with, I thought the music was a very odd choice. It's like very jazzy and upbeat, and that is not like what's happening on screen.
That was one of my first notes as well. I was like, kind of a weird choice, like very kind of energetic and very much didn't match the tone. Although, I mean, it feels like the montage, first of all, is half the episode.
Yeah.
I checked. But also, like, it largely just seems to be sort of like, here's the story so far in images.
Yeah, it's kind of a recap. But we also have some things that, like, the show deals a lot with, like, unreality. Yeah. So we have some things in this montage that may or may not have actually happened because we see Lane, like, witnessing Chisa's death, which was not something, like, that was not something that we saw earlier in the show.
Yeah, but I mean, it does make some sense given what we know at this point in the show, because I mean, she's kind of just all over the place, you know, kind of popping up here and there. So just because we didn't see her at the time doesn't mean she was there.
Yeah.
And if she was not aware of it at the time.
And they show this brief interaction between Lane and Chisa, which at the time, as I was watching this, made me wonder if they were friends or if she knew her before she died. But later we do learn, like, she says, "Oh, I walked home with you that one time." I can't remember if they say it in the next episode or at the end of this one or whatever.
Yeah, I think it is the next one, but it's like, which is interesting that's the only like real interaction they had because
Chisa's kind of the start of everything.
Yeah, she sends her that email, and she's one of the few people who got an email from her. So I assumed they were actually like friends.
Yeah, and one of the quotes from this episode that I wound up writing down was, "I don't need to stay here." And was it Lane or Chisa that said that?
I don't remember. Could have been either.
Yeah, really, it would make sense for it to be either.
But my guess would be Chisa, because I don't think Lane had accepted at that point that she didn't need to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this montage is kind of everything that's happened thus far. And towards the end of it, there's a lot of emphasis on Lane and Arisu.
Yeah.
Which just felt significant.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, like, Arisu is the only person who treats her like a person in the show.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, her parents don't, her sister doesn't, like, the other girls at her school don't really.
Yeah.
But
then I feel like the discussion of like this episode in particular is going to be kind of short because half of it is recap.
Which kind of works out nicely since we have to do 3.
Yeah. But when we actually get to a point in the episode where like new things are happening, Lane says she like loaded an emulator of her Navi into her brain somehow.
Well, she doesn't. God says that?
Masami/God.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still sticking with God just because it's, I don't know,
easier.
Funny to me. But yeah, so he's the one that says that, which my first thought was like, I mean, I know this show was ahead of its time in so many ways, but like an emulator.
Yeah.
She is her own computer now. Like that's fun. We didn't even have a computer in my home at this point in time. And she's putting ones in her head.
Another quote that stuck out to me was, "Lane, you're software, you're not hardware." Because that ties directly into things that are revealed, I believe, in the final episode.
Yes, but it also very much fits with a lot of what we've been talking about, like of her not necessarily being a person per se.
Not being real.
Yeah. And also, and I don't think it comes up at this moment, but they do say something that fits into one of my previous theories about like these different aspects of her. But that's gonna come back.
Yeah. What the fuck was that shadow blob?
I don't know.
And it never gets addressed again.
They do that a lot, though.
There's a fair amount of shit that doesn't get addressed by the end of this series, which I don't count it as a flaw necessarily, just because so much of it already has been so ambiguous that like what's a few more unanswered questions at this point.
Well, like little things like that aren't going to bother me, but my notes do end with a few like big questions that never got answered that are bugging me.
Okay, yeah, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, but that one doesn't so much.
But then we see both. My notes are like made up of questions, and I'm trying to remember exactly like which things happen in which order, because I watched one episode and then I watched the final 2 in one sitting, so I feel like everything's kind of jumbled together in my brain.
Yeah.
But there we see Chisa and we see the Siberia shooter. And like, where was that? That they show her in like, they show Lane in some other landscape that's like not this city and not like what I've come to think of as like the sort of cyberspace of The Wired. It's like this other, almost like apocalyptic looking.
I don't know.
They only show it for like a split second too. She's like looking out over this landscape that's like desolate.
I don't know that I caught that, but I was also eating dinner while watching this episode, so I might have been looking down at the.
It happens to the best of us. Yeah. And this is also where I noted that we, aside from what we saw in the montage at the beginning of this episode, we kind of haven't seen Arisu in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And things with Arisu have been just kind of all over the place, too.
They've been very strange. Yeah. But then we see her, and we see Lane with a Gray's body.
Which, by the way, yeah, so I had noticed this in one of the earlier episodes, but I didn't think much of it at the time. But I think it's when like she and because they had it in the montage too, when she and Arisu are like on the rooftop. I think it's a rooftop talking, or they're looking out over
Yeah,
something.
like in the school.
Yeah, Arisu grabs her hands, and their skin is like two very different colors. And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and Lane's skin is definitely like more gray.
Hmm.
Which I hadn't like thought about when we saw that the gray appear in Lane's doorway that one time.
Mm-hmm.
I still have no idea how that's connected.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm also kind of not sure how to interpret it because it doesn't.
No.
I mean, there were like mentions of like Roswell and other kind of like famous kind of like, ooh, alien conspiracy theory type things in previous episodes. But as for exactly how they tie into like Lane herself,
Maybe alien technology is involved somehow, like
well,
something
because
that got
she talks to that. Because this is in a previous episode again, but she talks to that Dr. Hodgson, I think it was, who
the kid killer.
Yes, but that was the episode where they brought in like Roswell and aliens signing contracts with the president and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like maybe like alien technology was used in his experiments.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Trying to like harness the power of telepathy, essentially, that exists in kids. I almost forgot about all that because it doesn't feel super connected.
No, it kind of doesn't. Which like I don't. There's so much that doesn't feel connected, but I'm never like, oh, why did I'm not like mad that they showed us quote unquote unnecessary information. I think it helps flesh out this universe very well.
Well, it's not that it's necessarily unnecessary. No, it might be one of those things. If you went back and watched it a second time, like knowing the end of it, it might make more sense.
I do feel like this is one of those shows that is deserving of a second watch.
Yeah, because there's definitely so many things we missed. Right, because how often just in these discussions have I said a thing and you were like, oh, I didn't notice that, and you said a thing and I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there's like there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
But then we have the revelation that there might be another Arisu, which was really interesting to me because this is the first time we've the second time we've seen a character kind of split into two, because we saw that with Maki.
Yeah. Which I feel like to an extent that gets explained at some point. I'm trying to remember. I think it might be the next episode. Like, depending on your interpretation, it might be sort of explained. But yeah, I noted that as well, because it's like, wait, so have we seen the other Arisu? Like, have...
You look like you just connected some dots.
No, because I was just thinking about how Lane supposedly erased everybody's memories regarding, like, what they knew about Arisu and the teacher.
Yeah.
But then she didn't, because apparently everybody still remembered.
Or like Arisu still remembered it. Yeah.
So it's like, was that a different version of her? I don't know.
Yeah, who's to say? Another quote that I wrote down: I've already destroyed the border between the wired and the real world. So Lane has like transcended like the need for a device to access the wired.
Yes, which kind of I think kind of had always been the case, but I thought, not always, but like, for quite a while. Which I guess that made me assume that meant everybody should, if the border doesn't exist, everybody should be able to kind of like do both without technology, I would think. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, because you see Arisu like using her little flip phony thing in either, I think it's the next episode.
Yeah.
But now Arisu is receiving mysterious emails.
Yes. Yeah, we get the return to text on the screen in this episode a bit more too. Not just like the messages part of things, but
like the title cards.
Yeah.
Somebody says something about, I should have written this down more specifically what this was referring to, but somebody uses the phrase like go through with it, and at the time I was like, go through with what?
I don't know if I can help you on that one.
Fair enough.
I mean, so it would have to be one of these two, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, the question that I kind of ended with for this episode was, did Lane successfully undo whatever she was trying to, like, the memories of people?
Yeah, I mean, the last note I have on here is like she can change reality now. So it wasn't just memories, because she was essentially saying like if people don't remember it, it never happened. So it's not like just changing memories at this point.
People don't remember what?
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
You are frozen? Can you hear me?
Oh boy.
Oh. Oh.
We good?
I could still hear you, but you were frozen?
Oh, odd. You were frozen for me.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So what did you just say?
I don't know at what point you stopped hearing me, but yeah, just that it seems like she can essentially change reality at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because she says something about like, I can't remember if it was at this moment, but like if you can change people's memories, you are changing reality essentially. And so she can make it like things never happened, which is, it's like, that's, so you're a god if you can just change reality.
Yeah, that's a crazy fucking power.
Yeah. By the way, this has nothing to do with anything, but it appears that Arisu has an iMac color.
Oh yeah. Love that.
I used to think those were so cool.
Oh yeah, I remember them shits.
Yeah.
Okay, so then episode 12 is called Landscape. And it starts out with Lane just fucking staring at Arisu in a very creepy way.
Yeah. No, and it's wild because she sends Arisu a message on her phone, but without using technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would creep me the fuck out.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, if you just looked at me without even picking up your phone and all of a sudden I had a message from you, I would lose it.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't blame you. Then we see Taro and all the other kids from Siberia, and a quote that I wrote down from Taro was, he says, "I kissed an angel," and I feel like that has to have, like, that's got to have been referring to Lane, because that's the only person we've seen him kiss.
Well, yeah, and I mean, she does have sort of like that godlike, and we see her like appear in the sky as the clouds part, and people are like worshiping her. So she has that sort of like, religious worshipy thing.
There was this kind of like disjointed news broadcast that ends with the line, "Let's all love Lane."
Yeah, that was weird.
Which was bizarre.
Yeah.
And I thought all the talk about like the evolution of humankind was really interesting, and how kind of like technology has evolved alongside us, and how maybe now, like, is it now outpacing us? Ooh.
Yeah.
All that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And even the men in black don't seem to know what's happening anymore, which I thought was really interesting, because at the beginning of, like, when they were first introduced as characters, they clearly had information that we as the audience did not have. So I was expecting them to kind of be like more of like an explanatory type presence, where like they would come in with all the answers, or like come in with some of the answers like they had previously when they took her to Tachibana, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that really kind of isn't the case for the end, for like the end portion of this show.
No. I still feel like I don't really know who they are.
No, I don't either. But we know that their client, whoever that may be, was in contact with Eri Masami.
Yeah.
And they have this meeting with somebody in like a parking garage. And when I was watching this, I was like, should I recognize the guy who just handed over that briefcase? Because I swear we've seen him.
Oh, I just assumed he was some guy.
I couldn't tell you. Maybe he is just some guy. Maybe we've seen him before.
Yeah. By the way, what are those things that MIB guys wear? Like, we never...
Some sort of headset. Virtual reality, perhaps.
Like AR, like that guy in one of the early episodes who was trying to...
And that guy that we just never come back to, by the way.
I know, that's why I, like, sighed in mid-sentence. I was like, yeah, we never did. Yeah.
But then they talk about, like, connecting the wired and the real world without devices. Yeah. And this guy who brings them the briefcase, he says something wonderful is going to happen. Which was interesting because in previous episodes, we have heard characters say that, like, whatever's coming is something that has to be prevented.
Yeah, which is... I find so much confusing about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they were hired by somebody to stop the barrier being destroyed, or the border being destroyed, which they did not do. But then this guy is giving them money while also telling them to go into hiding.
It was all very, very strange.
So this guy was not the client?
But I feel like we would have to assume he isn't.
Well, no, maybe... No, he has to be, because when they first start talking, the one MIB guy says, "You used us."
Oh, yeah.
So, like, he must have been the one that hired them, but under false pretenses of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he's also paying them, because to accomplish whatever he wanted. But why they're supposed to go into hiding, I guess to hide from Lain?
Perhaps. The end of this scene is really interesting to me because the one man in black, he starts like freaking out and like trying to like clawing his headset off of his face, and then we see an image of Lain like reflected in his eyes, and then he's just dead.
Yeah.
And then the scene ends, we hear the other man in black scream and are to assume that the same thing happened to him.
Yeah.
And then that's it's not technically... Is it or is it not the last we see of them? Who's to say?
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
So, I mean, but that would suggest that Lain is the one that killed them.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, which
because like
she would do.
Yeah, exactly.
And why would she do it? But that's why I thought maybe that would be the reason why the guy was suggesting they go into hiding somewhere that doesn't have satellite or
power lines.
Yeah, because that's how she gets to them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Yeah. But Arisu goes over to Lane's house and it's fucking trashed. Like at first it was just abandoned.
Yes. There is a note that I had from before the MIB thing that I briefly mentioned from the previous episode that I said we'd get to. Because Lain said this thing that like people only have substance in other people's memories. So you only exist essentially if you are remembered. But that's why there are different versions of people depending on how they're remembered by each individual person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what creates the other versions of Lain. Is like different memories of her.
Mm-hmm.
So like the version of her that is only in Siberia, that's how she's remembered by the people there. And so that's why there's like that version of her. So I think that also then points to what she said, like when she said there might be more than one Arisu. It's like, well, if you're remembered differently by different people, there essentially are different versions of you, which is true.
Yeah.
Right? Because your relationship is not exactly the same with any two people. And so those people are going to see you at least somewhat differently based on the knowledge and experience they have.
Mm-hmm.
And so there essentially are different versions of you depending on who is like thinking about you.
Yeah.
But it's like those memories get manifested.
Yeah.
So that was really.
And then when Arisu is making her way through Lane's trashed house, she briefly sees this image of Maki when she was kind of like hallucinating and like doing that like phone call thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was creepy as shit.
Yeah.
So, and also when Arisu finally makes her way up to Lane's room and she sees Lane like covered in wires and everything, that was the screen cap I saw when I first heard of this show.
Oh.
I was wondering when it was going to pop up.
Yeah.
But we learn that Lane left Arisu's memories alone because she didn't want to hurt her. Mm-hmm. And like this whole interaction I thought was kind of sweet in a really fucked up way, like Arisu being Lane's like only actual friend.
Yeah. It's very sad.
It is extremely sad. And I wrote down, what exactly does she mean by connecting? Because she keeps saying like that Arisu hasn't like needs to connect with her and hasn't connected with her yet. Like I'm unclear on precisely what it is.
Yeah, same. And I don't know that we ever figured that out.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't think we do.
Yeah. No, that's one of my lingering questions that I wrote at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe because she does manipulate everyone's memories except Arisu, so my assumption is that it has something to do with essentially like connecting to the minds of people so that they can be manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
So she chooses not to do that to Arisu because she cares about her too much and respects her too much to essentially like manipulate her.
Yeah.
That was sort of my assumption.
But this is when we kind of learn, like, I'm going to take this as like an actual definitive fact because frankly, there's very few of those in this series. Lane says, I'm a program designed to destroy the barrier between the wired and the real world. So, I mean, there's kind of your confirmation that she's never been a real person.
Yeah. And that is the clearest answer we get to anything.
Yeah, anything at all.
This entire series. That is like the only concrete piece of information that we're given.
And
like, oh, you told us a thing. That's cool.
And again, just like another kind of like weirdly sweet moment between Lane and Arisu where she just like hugs her.
Yeah.
I just this episode and the final one in particular, I feel so bad for Lane.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that she said that Lane says, I'm a program and everyone else is an app.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It's like, what? And then I start to wonder, like, what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean,
there's like Google and like, am I missing something?
There's a lot of technobabble in this series, which I think can exacerbate the confusion.
Yeah.
To a degree, because it's already very surrealist and ambiguous by nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I felt like that was understanding the difference might have been significant to understand like how she relates to other people, but yeah.
But so Lane can hear and see Masami, but Arisu can't, because when Lane starts talking to him, Arisu starts freaking out and is like, oh my god, who are you talking to?
Well, yeah, because the barrier or the border still exists for her. She's not connected.
Mm-hmm. But that changes quickly because he kind of like manifests this like blue electric hand.
Ghost hand.
And then there was a line about like raising the collective unconscious to a conscious level, which I thought was really interesting. Like, I feel like that's a way you could kind of describe the internet.
I guess.
I don't know. But at the end of this episode, Masami manifesting into the real world reminds me so much of Akira. At the end where Tetsuo gets all fucked up.
I was just thinking about how so much of these episodes, especially the one before this, reminded me of Evangelion.
Yeah, the show is definitely, and also the art style for this
That's
show
come
is
up
kind of
before.
giving Evangelion.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
By the way, I did Google it, and it's essentially app and program are kind of like synonyms, but it also specifically says that all apps are programs, but not all programs are apps.
Okay, noted.
So an app is a type of program.
So everyone else is like a subset of what Lain is?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the final episode, which is called Ego. It opens with the line, "I'm confused again," and I gotta say, bitch, me too.
Well, I did have a couple things from the last one, just a couple things to point out.
Yes.
First of all, I love that their the house is a disaster area, but Arisu still removes her shoes. Very Japanese.
Very polite.
But also, Maki's still there.
Yeah, what's that about?
To herself. So, like, who even is she? Because we know that her parents weren't her parents, and that's why they left. But like, Maki's still there, losing her mind. So,
Yeah.
so at least she wasn't alone. She had Maki, even though she seemed to be ignoring this poor person.
One of many questions that was left unanswered.
Yeah. Also, apparently now she's telekinetic.
Yeah, there's that too.
So that's new. I don't remember her moving things with her mind before. So I just
I don't either.
Like that. But that was the last one.
But at the beginning of this episode, like, this is where, like, I feel so bad for Lain. Like, she didn't ask for any of this. Like, what was her crime? Being a slightly, like, I mean, she's not real, but also, like, she was just a slightly weird kid.
Yeah. Well, just like all of us, we didn't ask to be born. She didn't ask to exist in the form that she is. Right? We don't get to decide, like our race and gender and right, all those sorts of things. She doesn't get to decide whether she's software. That's just how it is. She got dealt a raw hand, I guess.
She did. I am looking at the amount of notes I have for the final episode, and like, it feels like it's so little. Because like, this episode sort of takes its time in an interesting kind of way. Like, the scenes are pretty long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really liked the parallel of Arisu apologizing to Lain after the Siberia incident, and now Lain apologizing to Arisu after everything that's happening, after like these things that are happening with Masami.
Yeah, Arisu is traumatized, which of course
can't blame her.
Like this thing, like it was so weird because it was like trying to form a human body, but just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah.
So imagine that in the real world. It's just a combination of like skin and blood and guts, just this amorphous, ever evolving blob in front of you that grabs you.
Yeah.
With what appeared to be a giant tongue at first, I thought.
Fucking nasty.
Right? Like, she is damaged. She's gonna be like Maki at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
catatonic.
We'll get to the end of the episode. But what I wrote down was,
so this is what she looks like at this point, though.
Yeah.
Right? Just like her level of trauma is just off the charts at this point.
Because did Lain just... The question I read on was, did Lain just reset everything? Because what we are shown is essentially the first episode just without Lain. And then we see Chisa alive.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, we see that screen that it says, like, reset and, like, you hit return.
Mm-hmm.
So the screen actually says reset.
Yeah.
And so then I had written, like, she reset everything for Arisu.
Yeah.
It was entirely for Arisu.
Which I thought was, like, I think the ending of this show, like, since we're kind of, like, approaching that in the discussion, I think the ending of the show is genuinely very sweet. Like, I still have some things to say about, like, other parts of the episode before we actually get to that, but
yeah.
This is where we have the line, if you aren't remembered, you never existed. Which,
Yeah.
like, yeah, kind of.
Well,
I mean, who's to say otherwise?
Yeah, that was something I actually spent a decent amount of time thinking about, because it's like, well, but then there are maybe records of you existing.
True.
But so, like, there are plenty of people who are no longer remembered, right? Because there's billions upon billions of people who lived and died and right generations ago.
Mm-hmm.
But then what if we come across records, pictures?
Yeah.
But then is that creating a memory of that person because you now remember finding the record? And then I got stuck in a loop in my own brain.
There you go. But nobody seems to know or remember Lain. And then we see, like,
Yeah.
I think we see the Siberia shooter just as a random guy at, like, a crosswalk. And then we definitely see Masami talking about how he's going to quit his job. And the men in black appear to be linemen now.
Yeah. So everybody that died, we see.
Yeah. But yeah, like Lain, she seems to have fixed everything, but at the but now she's alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like this, there's a definite anti social media / like internet angle to this show.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's basically everything starts going wrong. I'm trying to think. I guess the kickoff point was Chisa's death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I guess then those other people die, like in the kids' hide and seek game. Like I don't.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that happen, and it's hard to remember all of them and how they're connected. But
yeah.
But it's interesting because
you go first.
I was just gonna say Lain wasn't even aware that these things
Yeah.
were going on at that point. So it's interesting that she would go back before that.
Mm-hmm. I wound up writing down the line, Lain is God. I can't remember exactly who that was said by.
I do remember the line. But it's interesting because nobody remembers her at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this brief kind of interlude where we see her, Lain, sitting down at a table with her dad, who's like actually acting like her dad again.
Yeah.
And like she gets really upset, and he says like, oh, like next time I'll make, like, you know, everything's all right. Next time I'll make us some tea.
And they appear to be like in the sky, like where God would be.
Mm-hmm.
But also I noted right before this, the present day, present time thing happens in the middle of the episode.
Yeah, it did.
Which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm. And okay, at first I thought this was a grown-up Maki.
Same. One more thing about the thing with her dad, though.
Yes.
Her bear onesie appears to be relevant because her dad says, you don't have to wear that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what does that mean? I thought it was just a cute outfit.
Yeah.
What is the significance of the bear onesie?
But then we learn that this person that we're seeing is in fact Arisu.
Yeah.
And she goes up and sees Lain on like the bridge from the opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have this brief little interaction where like Arisu doesn't seem to know her at all, and they introduce themselves, and that's it.
But she thinks she does, though. She recognizes her.
Yeah.
That she saw her somewhere before. When she says like when I was student teaching, so that gives you a sense that she's at least like early 20s.
Yeah.
At this point.
I can't remember who said this line, but I wrote down, "I'm here, so I'll be with you forever." I think it was Lain.
That's the very last line, yeah, that Lain says. But I thought it was interesting that we see this kind of scene with the grown-up Arisu, because they had said something I say they because I can't remember exactly who, maybe Lane, had said like, oh yeah, it was her, that memories aren't just of things that happened in the past. They can be of things
they
that are
can
happening
also be
now.
of tomorrow.
Yeah, and so this was like a memory of the future,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like, oh, that's kind of fun.
I thought that the ending of this was like remarkably hopeful compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah, I feel like so much of it is confusing and dark, but then it essentially ends on a message of love.
Yeah, which like is really sweet.
Yeah.
So like overall, I really liked this.
Yeah, like she was so selfless, like cuz clearly she's very upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't I feel like having yourself erased from the memories of people you care about is a fate worse than death.
Oh
Like
God,
I'd
yeah.
rather just be dead
Mm-hmm.
than know that the people I care about don't even know I existed. Like that's horrific. But she
Mm-hmm.
did it for Arisu because she was so traumatized.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's important that we see her, like the grown version of her, and how happy and like, how well she turned out, well
Yeah.
adjusted. Yeah.
No,
So
I liked this show a lot. I think that even with the kind of like ambiguity that we do have going on, it like I would recommend like I would definitely recommend this to anybody who's an anime fan.
I would say an anime fan, but also somebody who is comfortable with ambiguity and
Mm-hmm.
lack of closure.
Yeah.
Because I could see so many people getting very upset that there's
Yeah,
no
getting
like
kind of pissed off.
concrete.
But like if you already like Paranoia Agent, Evangelion,
Well,
you'll
yeah.
probably like this shit.
Yes. Agree.
But how would you say that this stacks up to other animes that you've seen?
It's hard to say because it's so different. Like,
Mm.
I suppose you could rank it against similar kind of vibes, like Paranoia Agent and Evangelion. Um, which honestly, if I'm comparing it to those two, I might have liked it better than those other two. Not saying I didn't like the other two. I'm just saying, like
I
relatively speaking.
think if we're talking about kind of similar animes, I think for me it goes Paranoia Agent, Lane, Evangelion.
Yeah. Yeah. Although honestly, we watched Paranoia Agent like so quickly.
We watched Paranoia Agent so fast.
It's like in one sitting, practically. So I don't remember it super well.
Nor do I. And
Yeah.
frankly, Paranoia Agent is one of those shows that's also just deserving of a second watch because of the way that it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember it being very confused by a lot of it, much like this show.
Mm-hmm. But I would say overall, as much as this is kind of like, it is a very bittersweet series, I had a fun time watching it.
Yeah, and I think it's important that, I mean, they showed Lane crying and being sad that she wasn't remembered, but then her realizing that she was going to be with all the people she cared about forever. Like,
yeah,
that's nice.
it is nice.
So at least they did kind of try to do an upper there.
What did you say you had written down as your major, like, unanswered questions?
So I had 4, a few of which I've already brought up. Because the first one I have is like, what does connected with actually mean?
Yeah, who's to say?
Which again, I think it is her essentially being able to access the minds of everybody without technology and be everywhere. Who's the client?
Yeah, who's the client? We never really learn.
No, which I think like matter because I really want to know because of the MIB guy saying you used us, like in what way and for what purpose.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to like stop Lane, I guess, but they were also sort of like working with her and protecting her.
I don't know.
So I don't understand. Yeah, so that one really gets to me. Also, who were her parents and sister?
Yeah.
Like, we know her parents weren't her parents, but like, who were they
Especially
working for?
because her dad says that, like, I still loved you.
Yeah, which I mean that to me makes sense. Like you get put on a job and you're like undercover, but then you kind of fall for the client, kind of cliche. So that makes sense to me, but they never say like who they were working for and why they were put there.
Yeah.
And then I've already mentioned like her sister, like Maki clearly wasn't
the
same as the parents. She wasn't in on whatever this was.
No, clearly not.
So like, did she not, like, she had to have existed somewhere before this. Like, where did she
One would
come
assume.
from? And like, what happens to her? I guess she's no longer traumatized because of the reset. Does she exist somewhere else? Like, I don't a lot of questions.
Yeah, we kind of just never see her again.
Nope. There's no resolution on that one.
No.
And then the only other one that I had, which is not one that's really come up before, why was she given physical form?
That is a really good question, because if she's just a software program, like, why would she need it? Because frankly, like, giving her a body kind of causes a bunch, like, she gets attached to people because she like, or at least for a time exists as a quote unquote human, and like that's why she winds up getting attached to Arisu, because she's a human. Like, she experiences some facets of humanity and makes a friend.
Yeah. Which, so it essentially sounds like, because I keep calling him God because I don't think he really is Masumi. Masumi, I mean.
Masumi, yeah.
I don't think that's really him. I think that's just the form this being chose to take on within the wild.
Side note, God / Masami would be such a cool niche cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so that's why I keep calling him God. I don't really think it's Masami. But he appears to be the guy who wrote the program that is Lain. Is that
I feel like that makes the most sense.
I think that's what he's implying before he tries to manifest himself. Mm-hmm. And then he says, like, I gave you a body, right? Like, I manifested you in this world. But he never says why he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also spends a lot of time trying to convince her that she doesn't need that body. And trying to convince her essentially to, like, kill herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, going as far as, like, here, look, there's a gun in your hand. Pull the trigger. Make sure you use both hands. Like, so it's like he's claiming that he created her and gave her physical form, but now he wants her to get rid of that
physical form.
But, like, why couldn't he just do it if he's the one that created her? Like, why does he need her to?
Well, and there's also that moment where she's like, oh, well, then who created you? And that's kind of like what takes him down, essentially.
Oh, he gets mad.
Yeah, he gets big mad.
Like, yeah, it's just, which, I mean, it's true in a sense. I mean, I'm not religious at all, of course, but, like, this idea that he is God because he created her, and it's like, yeah, but you came from somewhere too, my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not all powerful and omnipotent. Like, you were born just like anybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't understand why there doesn't seem to be a reason why he gives her physical form, unless for some reason she needs that to be able to connect to people, to start creating the connections.
Yeah, maybe at first she has to, like, play by the quote unquote rules to connect with people, and then by doing that she becomes powerful enough to transcend devices.
Yeah. I mean, so that could be part of it. And so maybe her parents, like, worked for or with the guy who programmed her.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all part of, like, this company. And so they were, like, essentially, when she was given physical form, they were put with her as her parents to help guide her in that world. But then also, why wasn't she aware of these things?
Yeah.
So yeah, why was she entirely lacking in awareness of what she was? Was that necessary, or was it like a side effect of being given
Yeah. I don't know. I do not know.
Also, never figure out who the delivery guy is. I mean, we see him.
No, he pops up a couple times, but that's about it.
But I still feel like there was something there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe a lot of those people work for the software company that created Lain.
Maybe.
And the delivery guy delivers computers that are made by their hardware.
Ooh, could be.
I'm trying to find a way to connect everything, so it might be the.
And I feel like, unfortunately, you're not going to get there, but you can try.
Yeah. That's why. So, a lot of it goes to the overall question: why did all of this happen?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you were never given physical form.
Yeah, and that's an answer that we never get.
Yeah. So if we don't know why she was given physical form, we don't know why any of these things happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the entire purpose.
But regardless of the unanswered questions, if you're thinking about watching this, I say go for it.
Especially if you like your brain hurting.
Yeah, I mean, like I would describe this in some parts more than others, but still overall kind of Lynchian. So like if that's a thing that you're into, you're probably gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I think it's like the ambiguity, like abstract kind of content. In not to get like academic for a second, but there is a concept that is often looked at known as need for closure. And that is largely the extent to which people are comfortable with ambiguity in their narratives as applied to media content. And so it's like a spectrum, right? There's some people who are on the far end of like, oh, I don't need anything concrete. I don't need answers. I just like thinking about things and vibes, right? And then on the other far end, it's like, no, I need a clear, logical structure. I don't want plot holes. I don't want loose ends. Like I want everything laid out for me. And then of course, everything in between.
Yes.
And so that to me is really relevant here, because if you're somebody who really does need that closure, this is going to drive you insane and you will not like it.
Yeah. But if you don't need closure, if you're okay with ambiguity, have fun.
Which honestly, I am somewhere in between those. I definitely lean more toward the need for closure just because that's the way my brain works. I like to be able to connect things and organize them, and right.
I would definitely say I'm further on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know me. I love my Twin Peaks. I love my Eraserhead. I love my weird shit that makes you think and doesn't, give you answers.
Yeah. But I think there's also the connected bit of like, when somebody like you doesn't really need that closure so much, you don't try so hard to make sense out of it, and so it might not hurt your brain as much.
Also a possibility.
Whereas somebody like me who kind of needs it, I am like doing backflips in my brain trying to make things fit and trying to like connect parts together, which is why my brain hurts so much, and I just spend most of the time watching this like making a face trying to figure stuff out.
Well, since we didn't do a podcast episode this week, how are you?
Oh, very stressed. It's
yes, it is finals. I am so sorry.
Actually, technically today was the last day of finals. I had to think about what day it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're at that stage.
Yeah. We got meetings all day tomorrow and then graduation Saturday.
Oh boy.
I get to be a marshal again.
Yay.
Practice today for the marshals. I was practicing my broad sweeping gestures and they kept laughing at me.
I love it. Let's see. What do we got going on? No defen tomorrow, I don't believe. And then Big Dumb Monsters Monday. Not sure about Regrettable Reviews Tuesday. I know that Art's got some shit going on. And then Fighting with Friends Wednesday. Stream Thursday. We're probably just going to do video games to close out the month. And then honestly, I kind of want to do another anime. I'm in an anime mood.
Ooh, interesting. Like a series or movies?
I could go for either, to be completely honest with you. We could do another anime movie month. I think that'd be a good time.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely talked about several different series too when we chose this one. So we got like a list kind of going.
Kyle's really pushing for Ranking of Kings.
I do remember that being one of the options. I don't remember anything about it.
He says it is very, very good, and frankly, his recommendation is enough for me, seeing as we have incredibly similar tastes in media.
I would say as long as it's somewhat significantly different from this.
Very much so.
Okay, because I was going to say we don't want another like series where we're just confusion again, back to back like that. I feel like we need a little more variety, but
understandable. Yeah, I don't know what games we're gonna do for the rest of the month. I feel like that's just gonna be a vibes thing.
Yeah, we only have 2 of those, 2 Thursdays. Yeah.
Girl, I'm seeing Avatar in New York City tomorrow, and I'm so excited I can barely function.
That's what I thought when you were like, I thought you were going to bring that up a minute ago, and I was like, wait, you're just skipping right to the here's what's coming up on the network.
So excited. Oh my god, we've got meet and greet. I made presents for everybody. It's gonna be so much fun. So excited. But yeah, I think that's kind of everything for tonight. Unless you've got anything you'd like to share.
Not really. No, I think
fair enough.
Just
thank you to everybody.
Just a random thing. Yes. Entirely random, but I want to share with everybody what I found to be one of the best usernames I've ever come across.
Oh, do tell.
When I was playing Fallout 76, it was yesterday and the day before. Are you familiar with Shirley Temple?
Yes, I know who Shirley Temple is.
Okay. Well, I never know, because that's from like 100 years ago, Somebody's username was just Shirley Temple on DVD.
Incredible. 10 out of 10. No notes.
I've been thinking about that for like 2 days.
Nice.
It brought me so much joy. I was going to go over and give them like the heart emote, but I figured they might not understand why I was doing it.
Yeah. Understandable. Okay, thank you to everybody who watched, who participated in chat. We absolutely appreciate that. Join us next Thursday for some video games, and then next month we are either going to start a new anime series or we're going to do another anime movie month. Yeah. So more anime to look forward to either way.
And a movie.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It's been real. We will see you next week. Adios.